Hi guys, second video for the day. I just wanted to get information out there for those who are wanting to do cross stitch so that they know what supplies they will need. They can make an online order and hopefully have it in the next day or two so we can get started. This particular one is a full kit, which means it has the cotton, the 14 count Aida fabric, and I'll go through what that means in a minute, needle chart and instructions. So basically everything that you need to make that particular kit is included. Now I say basically because it does not include a hoop. I prefer to use a hoop because it keeps your fabric nice and taut and makes your stitches nice and even. But that's up to you. Some people prefer not to use a hoop, completely personal preference. Another way that we can do our cross stitch is to buy a chart on its own. That then means obviously you need to go and get the fabric and all the threads. You have to buy them separately. So that is a chart under there. The reason I'm showing it to you like that is this little guy here, copyright. When you buy a chart, you are buying that chart for your own personal use. Do not photocopy it and lend it to your neighbour, lend it to your best friend, let them copy it. Just don't copy it. Charts are made by the designer. They put hours and hours and hours of work into it. We all like to be paid for our work, so let's support our designers and actually purchase the pattern. That being said, DMC and Anchor are your main types of embroidery thread. This number here is what the colours are, what you're going to need to complete that kit. Now, I'm not affiliated with DMC or Anchor in any way. It's just what I like to use. There are some charts available for free download online, which means you can go for it. Print it off. 16 count Aida and the colours that you need. You don't have to follow those particular colours. It's a suggestion. That's what they've used to make it look like that. So back to the threads for a second. This one is DMC and the number is down the bottom there. That's one way that you can get your threads. If you're doing this one for kids, you can get thread like this from the reject shop sometimes, $2 shop, craft store, something like that. Doesn't have to be expensive thread. Match your colours up and go for it. Now, this 16 count, 18 count, what does all that mean? That is our fabric. This is I don't know if it's 18 count, I've got to measure it. This is Aida cloth, that's what I was going to say, with the little holes in it. So each square is one stitch. And this particular one, I think, is 11, which means that there are 11 stitches to an inch. So if you have a finer cloth, you'll see that the holes line up, and this particular one is 18 count, so there are 18 stitches to an inch. So the higher that number, the more stitches you're going to have along there. So if you're looking at this for children, I would suggest either a 14 count or a 16 count. I don't have a 16 count to show you, but this one here is a 14 count. The other thing you're going to need are tapestry needles for your threads. So a tapestry needle has a slightly blunt tip, and that is so it can just slide through the hole. You don't want to be piercing your fabric. Blunt tip, and it's a lot easier to just slide through like that. Okay, I think that's it. See you soon.